hating myself. I ain't got nothing to prove, so really got nothing to lose. Keep my dogs right with me. If they got some problems, they hit me. They hit me. They hit me. Yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Right. We apologize for the technical issues that plagued game one. Unfortunately, we weren't able to recover the situation, and it was just kind of lost to us on the viewer side. So we're gonna move into game two. High Alert Penne Pals did win game one. We have word of that. Also, going into game two, Stun Gaming Nebula are going to opt to move to blue side for this one.
Yeah, that's kind of what we predicted. No, that they were going to be the winner of the series. They're starting out with a strong start. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see what exactly transpired, but that's okay. What we do know now, it is do or die. Um, so going in this draft, it is fearless. So we won't see those same champions again. I'm expecting the same MF ban, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw the Jinx hover, and that's one that kind of scared me. No matter how down they are, I do not want to see a Fed Jinx anytime in the game. So we're gonna
Yeah.
see.
I'm also looking at I think the what you see on your screen isn't quite right. Or hold on, is the feed that we got on like a backup? We have a backup going. It says highlight Panay Pals is on blue side there, but here it's saying, oh wait, no, I can't read. You know what? Don't mind me. Sometimes when you get interrupted and you start to fall through. Either way, coming through, the band stay exactly the same on side of Panay Palace, not changing things up. Meanwhile, Stun Game Nebula keeping things very similar. The Nico and the Misfortune, ones that Cuddle Bear and Memer Sticks really highly prioritize. They'll take away the Jarvan as well.
Yeah, and I'm seeing an echo band from Panay Pals as well, which I mean in the mid lane can pretty prove to be a tough matchup for pretty much I think any mage. But Ambessa would be the first pick.
It's one that's been in the meta, one that ideally thrives with a lot of low range champions to be able to auto off of, but also has that level of flexibility between the top and jungle role. So
Mhm.
not exactly the worst blind pick ever. One that I haven't really seen too much played by the side of High Alert Pinay Pals, at least not recently though. So let's see how either Duolingo Out or Unkindness managed to pilot that one. But Yunara when picked up by Stun Gaming Nebula.
Yeah, and I mean, I believe we saw that banned out last round, and I'm glad that they prioritized this pick because I think Lunara is one of the stronger ADCs right now, and I really like her because of the multi-target damage that she can do. I'm curious to see what their support choice is gonna be. And Amumu is gonna be the jungler.
Yeah, it is one that Grumpy Pants does play quite a bit. Obviously, Curse of the Sad Mummy, really strong ability, being able to land AoE CC pretty easily. When you combine that with the fact that Amumu can stack casts of the bandage toss to be able to get in. So definitely one to look out for, even if Amumu is never exactly the most meta jungle ever. Either Pinay Palace talked about meta Lucian Melio, not exactly the top of it, but
Yeah.
certainly an all time classic of a combination for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Melio, I feel like has a surprising amount of damage output every time I see that champion played. So a good bit of CC as well as that cleanse, which could prove to be pretty important in these team fights against that Amumu.
Yeah, I mean, the Breath of Life is basically the inverse of Mumu ult, right?
Yeah.
A Mumu goes in, presses R, deals damage, and stuns everybody. Meanwhile, the Breath of Life also it cleanses and heals everyone. So is the actual inverse. I think their sizes are roughly the same as well. That being said, Sona going to be locked in on the side of Stun Gaming Nebula. Obviously, a lot of scaling when you see Sona locked in, and eventually when she does get online in the later portions of the games, allows teams to basically deathball and steamroll whoever they walk towards. But it does take a while to get there, and in the process, definitely not the strongest support ever.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say, Sona in the early game is pretty nice, and I have to say, from the Yunara Sona bot lane, I'm expecting a lot of aggression early, a lot of trading early from them. Melio can be strong, but before that, Bandoglass Mirror can kind of struggle with healing output. So I think that Stun Gaming is going to prioritize that early trades and fighting and skirmishes in that way, as well as Lucian. I feel like isn't very strong early as well. So after I think maybe the first or second back, then Lucian and Melio really come online. But before then, I think Yunara and Sona will have the upper hand.
And especially with how relatively low range, I suppose, or at least level 1, if Sun can dodge out a few of the Qs from the Lucian.
Mhm.
I suppose that's what the vision is with that one. But Talia going to be the lock in for Stun Gaming Nebula. It's not the most classic combination with the Amumu in the jungle, but obviously with the bandage toss, you land it. It does set up some pretty easy seismic shoves for her.
Yeah, and I mean the ult maybe could cut off the Ambessa or cut off, Lucian from the rest of the pack and deal some good damage there. Not sure. I think Talia is a relatively strong mid laner, but Syndra has just been in the meta for quite a long time in terms of DPS and scaling. Zach being the jungler kind of answer, which I really like. What do you think of this composition for Penne Pals?
They're definitely not exactly the same thing as last time around, but in a similar one that they kind of want to create space. They want Stun Gaming Nebula to sort of line up at them when they run towards them, with the Melio having the breath of life, allowing Lucian to stay uncc'd and in the fight. Syndra having the scat of the week can also kind of keep opponents at arm's length, but I don't think Stun Gaming Nebula outside of this Darius pick exactly needs to run directly at you all too much. And by the way, Darius locked in by Stun Gaming Nebula. Definitely one that is always fun to see in these games, because whenever Darius is locked in, it's always the focal point. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing varies depending on the performance, but it certainly always draws their eyes towards the top lane, which it will be in the hands of Bot Panda this time around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see the Garen ban from High Alert, and I'm gonna assume that means that Sun Gaming likes to play that Garen, and I think that Darius is kind of like the evil younger brother of Garen in terms of play style. But it's very feast or famine, I feel like, for Darius. But with that bleed stacking, I think they could deal a good bit of damage, and I think that's something that I think differs from the Mbessa frontline versus the Darius frontline, is that Mbessa has a lot of sustain, but unless she gets in lead early, she doesn't really deal that much damage, in my opinion.
I also think High Alert Penne Pals might have a little bit of trouble, assuming that they don't get off to a pretty big lead, especially in the bot lane, with dealing with the Stun Gaming Nebula comp, with the the amount of space that a Mumu can create when he goes in, and same as Darius. All the while, even if they do manage to pump out damage into the Amumu, into the Darius, Sona's going to be healing them right back up. Inara is going to be pumping out damage pretty heftily. Talia as well, also being able to interrupt things quite a decent amount with the Weaver's Wall. I don't think that's going to be as big of an impact, especially there's plenty of dashes on the side of High Alert Penne Pals. But can definitely throw in what I'm looking for. Gosh, what is that word I'm looking for?
Throw a wrench in the works, or
that close enough. We'll run with that. It's not exactly, there's like an exact word. Do you ever just like sit and you think like there's one word specifically that you're looking for, you just can't quite place your
happens
like,
to
name on
it's I
it?
feel like that's part of the caster's curse. You have like a nice kind of figure of speech you want to use, in the moment that you want to use it, it's gone. But yeah, for this composition, I'm kind of favoring Stunned Gaming right now. But in theory, High Alert, won that first match up. And I mean, you know, the bot line's pretty strong, but in my opinion, in terms of just comparing, DPS output and as well as healing output and value, I prefer the matchup early for Sona. Um, and in terms of, team fighting, I think it will be kind of a test of the supports. Sona obviously not having as much CC and DPS as Melio. So maybe I think in the late game, Melio can be really effective in, assisting the teammates, keeping them healthy, as well as the knockback. And depending on the build, you'll see that Infernal Imperial Mandate, which can, assist a lot in damage as well. So I don't know. I like the Melio pick more than the Sona, but I know that Sona early can be pretty strong.
We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. We're going to send it to a spectator delay. When we come back, we will hopefully this time around be able to bring you the game 2 between Stun Gaming Nebula and High Alert Penne Pals. Don't go anywhere.
myself. I ain't got nothing to prove, so really got nothing to lose. Keep my dogs right with me. If they got some props, they hit me. They hit me. They hit me. Yeah, yeah. Whoa.
And we are back and on the rift this time for game 2.
Minions has spawned.
Things work out smoothly this time around. We apologize for the technical issues from the League Spectator, what happened in game 1. So continuing on, and actually, we were talking about it being the Zac jungle because that's typically what we tend to see, but it's actually going to be the Zac top for unkindness.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate it at all, but against the Darius, I'm not sure. Like, Zac is a pretty close range champion that can get pulled pretty easily. And he's just walking up. That's...
I mean, the healing...
Yeah.
At least into Ambessa, probably marginally better in this situation there. Is probably the reasoning behind it. As soon as Zac gets 3 levels under his belt, he doesn't concede too much over to the Darius. He'll eventually be okay. I'm going to assume what the thought process is there, because the Ambessa into the Darius is it's pretty tough. And while in the bot lane, Little Bear a good chunk out of Papa skips, and though Sonaz does have access to those heals, it does cost a lot of mana early on.
Yeah, for sure. A good chunk of damage, getting that prio early. I mean, we're seeing kind of a little bit of a CS difference, but nothing significant, nothing to write home about, for sure. But, I mean, similar early, taking a big chunk of damage, and Lucian going in there with that Leo heal is just, that's impressive. Yep. Oh!
That is early game Lucian, so expect to see a little bit more of that start to come through. You get the piercing light down as long as it hits, especially onto the Sona, who struggles so much early on in this matchup. That being said, Burn down will manage to get the revive out of unkindness. So he'll get back lane and be alright. Of course, I actually say that. Won't quite die in the process. Does take a shower shot. Minion, the last clean shot does come in. There's still a few heals available for unkindness. The will even out the health bar in the end, but still really dangerous moment up there in the top lane. All the while, Papa skips continuing these early game struggles for the side of Stun Gaming Nebula.
For sure, some really fun top lane skirmishes, and And I mean, with the health bar so low, on top of skip, this is gonna be rough. And these mid, I mean, these mid trades as well, fun to watch. But I mean, Talia really low on mana right now, so might settle down a little bit.
We're doing recall though, so recall and then teleport back. Worst case ever for. Actually, you
no,
have.
the hover.
I'm just noticing.
My.
Hold up, before we get to that, there's a gank in the bottom lane. Flash away from Doku and Barry keeps alive a little bit longer. Flash response away from Grumpy Pants. We'll have the second cast of the bandit toss to get the first blood over to Doku.
I mean, that recall timer was really nice. I saw the vision. It almost looked dire for Doku, but it's a good thing. Grumpy Pants is in the area for sure there.
Unwavering judgment.
Heads up play from Grumpy Pants, opting not to go for the dive onto Unkindness. Gives him the time he needs to be able to turn that fight around in the bottom lane. Helps out early on with Papa Skips and Doku eventually
Mind your
will
footing.
survive through this, but importantly no flash on the ADC of Stun Gaming. Nebula will be a bit of an easy target, especially as soon as Duolingo Owl hits level 6 and has a way in onto the ADC.
I told you to stand back.
Yeah, and I mean, Duolingo Owl is an awesome name as well. I mean, looking at the runes for Empty, and they opted for the phase rush rather than electrocute, which I honestly really like. I mean, I personally have seen a lot of electrocute Talia's mid. I don't know about you.
Obviously, it gives you the extra move speed if you come through it. It might be important, especially with the ability to elastic slingshot and public execution. Speaking of, we'll have to use that to get away, and the flash from Unkindness. We'll keep in mind for a little bit longer, but the bleed is enough? It was enough! Oh! Okay. Second kill of the game goes the way of Stun Gaming Nebula. That fight in the bottom lane. Response comes through. Doku, no flash, no barrier. Even though Al doesn't have the public execution just yet. It's just a little bit too far away for the bot lane of High Alert Penne Palace to fully finish off the kill onto Doku. Will survive. Probably have to recall and eventually come back in a less than optimal place.
A lot of damage being taken by Memer Sticks there, but a beautiful kind of escape there by the skin of their teeth for this bot lane, keeping them in the game despite a little bit of an early game kind of deficit in terms of just health bar issues, which can be hard to farm under those conditions. But, I mean, Sona with a full health bar there, I mean, they can get away with a little bit more in terms of poke damage, but the mana's a little bit low. We shall see though, because Duolingo Owl coming for this hover once more.
Doesn't have access to the public execution just yet, and will be spotted on that control ward. So all the while, Grumpy Pants will equally these teams know that the drones are waiting in the wings. But while Duolingo Owl is moving away, Grumpy Pants has hit level 6 first, is hovering, is waiting to find an angle in with the bandage toss. I don't think they're going to find it for a little bit yet.
Being pushed to the tower there, I don't think the tower dive is viable at all. So I would just go for the drag here. Beautiful, beautiful survivability from the bot lane, displaying, you know, some prowess from the jungler as well, being able to be present for that tower dive that happens. And that's a first Drake. And the Hex take one as well, which is nice to have.
And so Penne Pals up 1.5k gold. A large part of it is also in this top lane on bot Panda, that one kill he got earlier, as well as this massive farm lead that he's garnered. Certainly will be a problem to deal with on the side of the Penne Pals, especially with how somewhat low range they are. Level 6 is accessible to Duolingo Owl. The roam from Bob Skips comes in, and the Curse of the Sad Mummy finds its way down onto Tactical Pork Chop, but the kill isn't quite there. Seismic Shove drops on Duolingo Owl over the minefield, and the Crescendo sets up a double kill for Grumpy Pants. Classic Slingshot comes in from Unkindness. There just isn't nearly enough around for them to find the kill, and the pull back onto Tactical Pork Chop secures the kill for Hunty. So 5 kills go unanswered to the side of Stunned Gaming Nebula. They needed a bounce back after that game 1, and they've come through in emphatic fashion here at the start of game 2.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Tactical Pork Chop, I'm just mad. Why are there 4 people in my lane? But you know, good start. You know, getting Drake and Void Grub really sets a statement for the early part of this game.
Even more than that, just in a few minutes, this gold lead has expanded to 3K, sub 10 minutes for the side of Stun Gaming Nebula, with the team composition that scales an incredible amount with the Sona, with the Yunara, and the Amumu. It's exactly the location they want to be in. And now, obviously, the counter to that is they might not be as strong, but hold on, Weaver's Wall comes in, does isolate out Duolingo Owl, does still have access to the public execution, holding on it quite a while, goes in now onto Hunty, and Doku immediately deleted by Cuddle Bear, dashing forward now the target. Papa skips, instead they look to turn on to Hunty, shut down, picked up by Cuddle Bear as well. So this Lucian has sprung into the lead in the spot lane 2v2, but we go straight up to the top lane, pull back, finds way onto Unkindness, flash forward, Bandage Toss sets up a stun onto Unkindness, who will quickly be burnt through his revive. The little clumps won't bunch back together, and so despite signs of life from High Alert Penne Pals, Stun Gaming Nebula fight back once again.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to say that public execution from Duolingo Owl was really nice, and one would say well executed. But yeah, I mean, what a little skirmish there in the bot river. And as we kind of go back to our lanes, I mean, Cuddle Bear just got a shutdown and has Essence Reaver in his hands. Oh no.
It is such a big power spike for the Lucian. He is a bit mana-gated early on, and now that the Essence Reaver is once again a Sheen item, gives him such a big power spike with how, you know, important it is for Lucian to leave auto attacks. Trunks Papa skips for half his health bar before the gate can even come through. My goodness. And the Bandage Toss comes up short, but here's Sad Mummy finds its way onto Memer Sticks, staying a little bit too long. Doku going to be able to pick up that kill for the side of Stun Gaming Nebula. So just a bit overconfidence confidence from the bot lane of High Alert Penne Pals. They saw the damage they put onto Papa Skips and felt like they could do a bit more, but just not enough.
And that's Sona Gaming for you right there. Right when you've chunked her down, she gets just enough health to cheese you from being able to finish off anything. And I mean, a beautiful bench toss and ultimatum from Grumpy Pants there. And I mean, Duolingo out just a little bit late to the party.
Actually, it didn't even matter that the 2 bandage tosses didn't even hit. Here's the Sad Mummy. The stun was enough, especially now Grumpy Pants. Talk about completed items is on the Landry's tournament. Before we get to that, Grumpy Pants getting spotted out once again. Memer Sticks in a little bit of trouble. Weaver's Wall going to drop and try to isolate these 2 members of High Alert Penne Pals. And Shots comes in, finds its way onto Memer Sticks. Won't quite find the kill just yet. And the Colin comes through. Cuddle Bear picks up his 3rd of the game. Teleports are dropping. Grumpy Pants a bit too in deep. It's a really good seismic shove to find the stuns and slow things down long enough for Bot Panda to arrive. Shutdown goes the way of Duolingo Owl, but the side of Penne Pals are too far separated. 3v2, 3-4-2 going the way of Stun Gaming Nebula.
Wow, I mean, just wow there. And I mean, the ult from Cuddle Bear, it was a beautiful fight from Stun Gaming. But I think that in terms of shutdowns, it felt good to get some kills onto Doku there, who has been pretty strong early game here. But with Cuddlebear being 3-0, I think it's just going to be a snowball.
Certainly, well, eyes on Cuddlebear will be the way for High Alert Penne Palace to be able to clean out the sweep, at least the way things are going currently, because around the rest of the map, it's not going so hot for the rest of the Penne Pals. Unkindness only sitting on 60 CS and 3 deaths 14 minutes in.
Yeah.
Not ideal by any means. The Ambessa a bit far behind as well. Dash in from Cuddlebear, but the Crescendo finds its way in and layers the CC with the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but not without finding a kill onto Papa Skips in return, giving a shutdown over to Cuddlebear.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely keeping their eyes on Cuddlebear, which is the way to go. And I have to say, the game hasn't been too kind to Unkindness either. There been a hard matchup, as well as a good few ganks from Grumpy Pants, putting them a little bit behind.
And
oh wow,
obviously, oh my goodness, Bot Panda with the Noxian Guillotine will secure the kill, but it does take a lot with those extra tower shots coming through. Does set up a shutdown for the Duolingo Owl. So gold going back the way of High Alert Penne Pals, especially the Duolingo Owl, going to be quite all right on the Ambessa. Obviously, Cuddlebear the main focus, but you're not going to be complaining if the Ambessa starts to get a little bit more damage under her belt. So I apologize for the technical issues coming through on the side of the stream. Games like popping in and out. Hopefully we will have a fix to that sometime soon. But meanwhile, we will stick with you and try to do our best to at least make it somewhat viewable in that regard. While Weaver's Wall comes in from the side of Huntley. Culling does drop down onto Papa Skips, and the Talia flash forward. Scatter the Weak finds its way only onto the Yunara, who's too healthy to really look for a kill onto. So flash committed. Recall going to be coming through from Huntley. The heals are going to finally come back up. So despite the promising looks, despite the amount of damage, Sona, now with a few levels under her belt, can start to negate it if those kills don't find their way into a fully lethal situation. But a good Scatter the Weak finds its way onto Papa Skips. But the Penne Pals aren't going to push their luck any further there.
Yeah, I mean, with the mid wave crashing there, it's do or die, choose your battles, and that was not a turret that you want to lose.
All the while, it does open up space for inside the Penne Palace to pick up the Rift Herald, but now Syndra's in trouble. Public key execution drops onto Huntley. Curse of the Sad Mummy is dropped, perfectly timed to do their best to save Huntley. Obviously, Duolingo Owl eventually flashes in to secure the kill, so now the 1v1 between the Ambessa and the Amumu. But both of them are going to back away before they can either find who wins that. My goodness, the damage from Bot Panda, though, in the top lane, able to secure the kill. Oh my goodness. Wow. I know Unkindness was probably inevitably dead there, but just one Q at the outer edge onto all of Unkindness's little blob secures the kill. Unkindness really not having a good time of it here in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a change. Ult gonna be invested there. I don't hate that. But yeah, this is definitely a tempo switch from what we've seen Weaver's Wall coming out here.
Down from Bot Panda, flash away from Cuddlebear, but he'll just have to leave Mimir Sticks to his demise. To hightail it out of there, Cuddlebear will do his best to get away, but the speed up from the Sona coming through, he'll eventually dash away to get out of the range of Bot Panda, but will have to miss out quite a bit here in the bottom half of the map. Unkindness, Unkindness, no, what are you doing this far if there's nobody around to help you out? You saw your Lucian recall, and the follow-up with the bandage toss won't quite find the Q damage onto Unkindness. Doesn't have access to the revive, but all the while in the mid lane, the mid tier 1 goes down in favor of High Alert Penne Pals.
Yeah, it's really great there that they traded that mid tower for the bot tower. I really like that. And I mean, I have to say, it's been a little bit of a different game than we expected in terms of, looking at the stats. Nice public execution coming out, though.
Drops its way onto Huntley,
What?
immediately deleted. Huntley thought they were being a bit cheeky with the bush camp on the ocean map, but is immediately cut down. But the bandage toss in is going to try to find a steal flash away from the Melio. Will delay things out a little bit. Culling drops, but not onto any key members. Drake goes the way of the Penne Pals. Grumpy Pants quickly cut down by the side of the Penne Pals, doing his best to get the steal, but will be unsuccessful in his attempt.
Wow, I mean, it's really great to have another drag on the board for them here. And as we reach that 20-minute mark, we're seeing so many towers being downed here. But Weaver's Well coming out. They're going to try and punish this push.
Seismic shove going to be sidestepped by Duolingo Al, but that only gives time for Bot Panda to arrive. Knocks in guillotine, drop, secures the kill. Over to Huntley.
Papa Skips just going in.
Yeah, well, he's got the slows with the empowered E auto attacks from the Sona to maybe eventually set up the arrival of Huntley, but just a bit too far away. But regardless, Sun Gaming Nebula get exactly what they came for. They sit up 4K gold in game 2 at this point. They are scaling up with Papa Skips, with Doku as well. We've seen in these fights, if the Penne Pals can't find these immediate picks, it's very difficult for them to push through.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to commend Grumpy Pants for having some really great agency across the map and, maybe not always hitting those skill shots, but still being effective in these team fights.
The Curse of the Sad Mummy. Certainly a very impactful ability. Is a no Leo pump stopper, but they need picks on side of the Penne Pals, and they get a really important one down onto Papa Skips. All that survivability is gone, but a good seismic shove separates the team members of the Penne Pals. Doku gets a kill onto Unkindness. Duolingo Owl not long to follow. And the flash forward from Doku will set up a third kill for the side of Stun Gaming Nebula. A double to Doku. And with the Baron spawning just a few seconds ago, Stun Gaming Nebula look to pick up that for themselves as well.
Man, I mean, I knew that the Darius was going to be strong, but nothing could have prepared me for how strong Bot Panda is on this Darius here. It's a good